Hello and welcome
to the Ed Factor.
We are back, and we are back discussing the second album of the Blaze Bayley.
Today is all about FUTUREAL 11. Now, we were little cheeky monkeys last week when we went. Blaze was in Northern Ireland at the Belfast gig, and we happened to arrange a little interview with him. So we're going to pop that on first, and then once you've enjoyed that, then we're going to come back and we're going to have a wee bit. We're going to take a deep dive into
FUTUREAL 11,
this most controversial of albums. So sit back and enjoy us with Blaze.
Guys, welcome to a very, very special episode of the Ed Factor, where we have the legend, the man himself, Mr. Blaze Bayley.
Hello.
Blaze, first and foremost, thank you so much for giving us a few minutes of your time. You're about to rock Belfast, and can we just say how delighted we are to see you looking so healthy, so
Thank
fit
you.
and well. We really are delighted. It's an Iron Maiden anniversary gig.
Yeah, we've done a few of these over the years. This is 30th anniversary. And what I like to do is these old songs, they're like old friends. And it's nice with the voice I have now, which is quite a bit different to the voice I recorded the songs with. It's nice to sing them with the voice I have now, which is a little bit bigger, and I've got a lot more control.
Yes.
There's more to my voice now.
A bit more depth and a bit more vibrato.
Well, that's for you to say. And we like to do it, and the arrangements are different as well. We're not copying a record or anything. It's like, okay, my style is, what is the song? What's the core of the song? That's what we're doing. So if you know the record, then you come and hear our version live. What you're hearing is our best live version that will hopefully hold the spirit and emotion of that song and give you a little bit more intensity than is on the album. And it's as simple as that. We're not straying too far from it. It's very close in some places, and hardly really anybody ever notices the difference. But to us, that's a good thing. We want you to have this emotional experience. And let's face it, some people have known these songs and been playing them for 30 years. They know them better than me.
Yes.
So we want to connect with that, but also bring a new intensity that's just, you can't have that on the album. And one of the things that Steve Harris and I always used to talk about is, it's almost impossible to do this. People have tried it. Is, you know what, if you could just get rehearsed up and play your new songs live, you would get the connection between the band. That would be a great way to do your new songs.
That was how you did a lot of the early recording. That's
Yeah,
Factor merger,
yeah.
wasn't it?
So that's something that's very, very interesting. And what we feel we're doing is going, all right, Estais Amigos.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's my biggest song. Not that fans think that's my biggest song or anything like that. Probably think
It's one of my
people
favourites,
think,
actually, please.
They may think Man on the Edge or Sign of the Cross or Klansman is. But for me personally, what is involved in Estais Amigos is my first trip to Argentina and seeing the memorial to the soldiers that fell in the Falklands, the Argentine soldiers, and having the most incredible warm hospitality from all the Argentine people. And you think, you can't even imagine having a punch-up, let alone a war.
Yeah. That's the amazing thing about music, that a song can have this connection to you
And
personally.
everybody there that's a Maiden fan, we're all connected through this music. And you think, It's unreal. So, and then on the hotel note paper, I just wrote down my thoughts and what I thought was just a poem, just for myself. And then
And a groove from
Yannick,
there.
Yannick said when we came to do the writing, he says, "What have you got?" I've got this. I thought, oh, maybe it'll go with this. Oh, they seemed to fit together. We took that rough idea to Steve and the rest of the lads, and that ended up being Estais Amigos. And
I think
for
it's a great
me,
track.
It is a fantastic
it's
song.
it's something very special, and he's been in and out of my set list over the years, and it's nice to have it in set list every night.
And great to hear Absolva, the Appleton guys putting their spin on the
Yeah.
track. I'm really looking forward to
You know,
hearing them play
they're
that.
much more than what you would ever deem a backing band. The power that they have.
Yeah,
themselves, the
because
live act.
we work a lot together, and we write together, and we tour together. We have a shorthand about the way we do things, and there is a standard that we all aspire to. And you can work with different people, and this happens to lots of different bands, and you'll find that people go, well, he's just not pulling his weight in the band, he's not, you know. Whereas with all of us, everybody's trying to be their best and connect.
Yeah. When you can
As
certainly
well,
see that on stage.
and
you can-
at our rehearsals, the details
Yeah.
are so important. No, let's come on again, until you can do it without thinking, and it's a connection that you've got. So that's very important. And some of these songs, it's not the first time we've played them, so it's nice to bring them out and feel fairly confident, you know, with this far in, that, okay, these are going well now.
Yeah, we've had the pleasure, the Clownsman, we've had the
Yeah.
pleasure of Virus, FUTUREAL, even
Yeah.
on the Gambler a few gigs back.
Yeah.
You know, all brilliant songs and all testament to the legacy that you've given us, please. So,
Yeah, it's
really.
different. It's only 2 albums, and for some people, those are the only 2 albums that count
Yeah.
at all out of anything I've done. But we've done, I think, 7 albums now with Wolf Spain.
Yeah.
And I've done 14 albums
Yeah.
of my own since
Yeah,
Maiden.
absolutely.
Some of your
And you
solo
go,
work has
that's
been
2 albums
Yeah.
in 5 years
Yeah.
out of a career of
Well,
about
you know,
40 years.
One of our episodes that we're coming up to is the Silicon 7. We can't wait to do that.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
you know, 10th Dimensions,
Yeah.
another one I think is a real highlight.
And even
this-
more with them, and we can't wait
Yeah.
to hear the new album. cycle. So
Yeah,
we're
really looking forward to it.
Well, I hope you like it.
Oh, well, we like what we've heard
Yeah.
so far.
So you get people that come and go. They say, last time I saw you was 1996. I've done all these albums. I've toured with everyone, and that is why.
But you're
you know,
still here and
Some
you're
people
surviving.
they go, oh, I'll check out the new album, and then some people will go, I only like things from the 80s. Well, my albums are from the 90s, but you're here. How does that work? So, generally speaking, I mean, one of the most fun things that happens to me is people go, new Maiden fans will go, Bruce sounds really different on the X Factor. And then they'll go down the rabbit hole of Blaze Bayley and find the Blaze Bayley universe and go, ah. And without the prejudice of being there at the time of your favourite single, even your favourite band,
Yeah.
without that, then I get
You must get
a few fans
huge
from
amount
that.
of fans, like, because you've such a rich back catalogue of your own.
I do, Vince, but
You know, and-
there's
and-
plenty of people that hate me from those days, and they won't give that up.
Yeah.
And everything I did was worthless and cheap, and that's fine, because if I'm worthy of hate, I'm also worthy of love.
Yeah.
And you find out just how well loved and how well thought of you are when you're lying in a hospital bed and your fiance, my fiance Kate, brings in a pile of cards like this is what I've had today. Hundreds of messages from all over the world, not just messages, letters, and everything. People are, oh, this means the world to me, you did this for me, and it's incredible to have that. And that's not just about 2 albums with Iron Maiden, that's about everything that I've done since as well. I'm very, very lucky to have incredible, loyal support when things haven't always been good, and I haven't always been able to write the best sounding album. People have stuck with me, my fans have stuck with me, and here I am now with probably my best sounding album. I produced it myself with Chris Appleton. I produce everything myself now. I learned to be a record producer because I see it as another part of the creative process. Okay, I've got these songs. Now I've got these songs. Now I'm recording them. Now you as the listener, I want to direct your attention to particular things and take you on a journey, bring you into that song, show you the heart of it. And then, when I've shown you that, you're going to listen and you're going to go, oh, and here's this other bit, and here's this other bit. But initially, I want to direct your attention, and as a producer, I can do that through the way that I mix the album. That's what things I do. So that's something that's is a lot between Chris Appleton and myself. It's what I do here, and it's a source of disagreements because it's an artistic.
That's part of the creative
It is,
process.
yeah. It's a kind of it's a tussle, but I don't feel that anything easy comes out feeling like you will live and die for it. Your life and death. This is the song I take to the gym, and if I die on the treadmill, it will be to this song. That's it.
Blaze, thank you so much for your
Okay, let's
Thank you.
Yeah, and we just want to say thanks very much to Blaze for being so gracious and giving us some of his time. That was just before his show.
Yep.
And also just to reiterate how great it is to see him looking so well
Back
after
and
his
kicking absolute ass.
yeah, less
He
than a
was
year
so good.
after his quadruple.
And if you're
bypass.
watching this and he's still about, I know, well, reading the back of my t-shirt, he's on tour until at least April, so do please come and have a look at and what he has to offer you on the 30th anniversary tour. Plus,
yeah,
coming in September, the tour for Circle of Stone, the new album, which will or will not be out by the time you have watched this video.
so yeah, definitely worth. What a performance from
So
Blaze!
good.
So definitely go check him out and his band Absolva as well. They're both superb. So we will now move on to Virtual 11.
Time to take that deep dive, Andy.
Yes. We'll set a little bit of context.
I do.
We always kind of do this.
The oral history section, here we go.
Yeah, so obviously Maiden had released the X Factor. You can check out the X Factor episode or deep dive
2-hour
on it.
episode.
Yeah,
The
bit of an
longest
epic.
one to date.
Yeah, we had a lot to say about the X Factor,
We did, yeah.
and I think it's fair to say that that both of us like that album.
Yeah,
Maybe
uh-huh.
me a bit more so than you.
Yeah, we tiny bit, but I was, as you probably, if you've never watched it before, you've never followed us before, this era is kind of new to me because that was the era that I kind of disconnected with Maiden for a while. So it was kind of like a new album for me. I really did enjoy it. Though. It's a fantastic album.
Yeah.
Dips in the middle, but you can
Dips in
go
the
back and
middle,
watch. Go
yeah.
back and watch the video.
I'm quite a fan of that album, but I do feel that, like I said in the episode, I do feel that some of the faster B-sides should have been on that album, and it would have made it more accessible to the likes of yourself
That's
and
right.
stuff. Maybe when you
Absolutely.
give it a spin.
Absolutely.
I just think there wasn't enough light and shade. And it's such a shame because the songs were there. They did actually record some
And
real...
we have the Andy Factor
track
playlist on the site,
check
so
that
have a
out.
look.
But anyway, X Factor,
Yep.
the X Factor, and come round to kind of September 96.
Yep.
Maiden release Virus, which is a single that
An evil vibe.
that they kind of release as a standalone.
Yeah, like
to promote the Best of the Beast, a best of compilation.
Women in Uniform at the end.
No, it's a good song, but I like Virus, and we're not going to review Virus, I don't think.
No,
are
well,
we? But
I would just say that you know, it is a staple of Blaze's live set still to this day.
I think it's a really good track.
It's a good song. It's a good song.
I like the intro, but to kick off a best of album, you know, you'd be better with a shorter version of the song where it just kicks in, because it really fizzes and pops, and that is the kind of thing that Blaze really excels at.
Yeah.
And I feel that this made
And watch the video. The video of it is incredible, because you get to see Dave Murray miming.
We may do a little review of Virus at some point. Maybe.
Like a 5 minute, we could do a short, you're right.
5 minutes short or something. So anyway, Virus was released in September '96, and purpose of us just bringing that up is that we fast forward then to kind of, it's the summer '97 where Maiden are recording this album.
Back to the barnyard.
Back in the Barnyard Studios. Yeah, back in Steve's homemade studio.
Yeah.
And the album is released in February '98.
Yep.
Sorry, 23rd of March 1998.
23rd of March. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I'm just checking my dates there right enough. Yep.
Running time 53 minutes 22 seconds,
So-
which is a short album compared to the last number.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
It's shorter
I think
than the
it is.
X
Well,
Factor.
shorter than X Factor. Yeah.
8 songs, which is the least number of songs Maiden had on an album since
the
Seventh
CD era,
Son
really.
of the
Yeah,
Seventh
yeah.
Son.
Yeah.
Yeah, strange title.
Yeah, but I suppose when you do a bit of digging, you've got the is it a juxtaposition? Is that what it is?
Yeah, so
of virtual reality and football.
That is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah,
So Virtual
so-
11 is, yeah.
So anyone who's not watching this episode, doesn't really know anything about football. And we're talking about association football, soccer, if you're watching this in the States. But for your virtual 11 would be your fantasy 11 starting players that
Your
you might
best
have.
team,
So Kenny
I think,
Dalglish,
yeah.
you know,
Ronaldo. What, David Beckham.
Fenric
whatever.
Puskás, you know what I mean? Yeah.
So, yeah.
George Best.
George Best, us being from Northern Ireland. Yeah, I thought at the time, I cast my mind back just to
Yeah. We were
to
18.
1998, and I remember at the time me thinking it's a really odd, un-Maiden sounding title. You know, to me, Maiden album titles always sounded, what's the kind of what word? You know, there was something to do with literature, or they had this. There was always like a history or a literature kind of thread to it, or something.
Shock. A bit of Shock, Power Slave, Number the Beast,
Yeah,
Killers.
peace of mind.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
It is a strange title.
It's a strange, and I would go as far as to say even like
Yeah.
the X Factor. I know in the modern era it maybe feels a bit weird because it's Simon Cowell and all, but at the time that still had a dark edge, and they marketed that in a very dark way.
Yeah.
But this was marketed quite differently. To me, it comes across a little muddled.
The sort of optics of it.
The optics of it,
yeah.
it didn't
Yeah.
quite. It jarred with me. The title of the album jarred with me. It's
Yeah.
like, you made an album's called what? Virtual 11. It's also a Maiden's 11th
Album.
studio
Yeah,
album. so
exactly.
there was that. So, but anyway, it kicks off with FUTUREAL,
What a track.
which is,
Ari Aris.
we're going straight into the album here.
Yeah.
Can I just interject and say the first single is Angel and the Gambler,
Which we will talk about
but we'll
shortly.
which was released on the 9th of March.
9th of March, 98.
Just a couple of weeks, 2
Yep.
weeks literally before the album comes out. But we'll just come to Angel and the Gambler as the second.
Aye, we're just
track.
going to go through it as the album, the track listen. So
So
side one,
FUTUREAL.
track one, put the tape in, turn it on. What do you get? What do you get when you turn on FUTUREAL? Here's what you get: brilliance, Maiden, kicking back into top gear.
It's blistering.
Oh, you know, straight away you get power charged vocals, you get Blaze, 400 words a second. The band are on good form. There's nothing really like it on the X Factor. So of the Bayley era, this is the first Maiden 1-2 punch album. track.
Yeah.
All right, now we'll talk about the second.
It's
bit in a
more
minute,
like Man on the Edge.
Man on the
it's
Edge.
More, it's that
yeah.
kind of.
But I mean,
rapier
like, you know what?
phase.
We always did that thing, Andy, and I made a 1-2 punch at the start, 2 minutes to midnight.
Yes.
You know what I mean? When you start, you're like, whoa.
Whether the X Factor
Bombast.
started off with Sign of the Cross,
Yeah,
which was
yeah,
this very different way for them to start
Exactly,
an album.
yeah.
Not so much now, actually.
No.
In their modern era, they have started off with epics and build-ups
That's
like
right,
that.
yeah. Mhm.
But back then, it was always that. And the X Factor was probably the first album that didn't just go,
Yeah, that's right.
you know.
Yeah, Gregorian chants, right
probably.
enough. But
Yeah,
but no,
yeah.
but
So
in
we're straight
itself,
in.
FUTUREAL, virtual reality, not knowing what's real, what is reality. You know, virtual 11th, virtual. Look at the cover of the album. There's a wee guy with a virtual headset on. Eddie's in the background.
it's quite
Again, pulling them
lyrically,
strings. So lyrically, it's quite
straightforward. And something that probably even more so now, fast forwarding to
It's very
2024.
It's very strange listening to this now, and you know, being in the society that we're in.
We're in the cusp of AI and
Yeah,
all this stuff.
absolutely.
So it's
Absolutely.
it's
Who knew?
probably more relevant than
Yeah.
it was even then. So
that's exactly what I was going to say.
yeah.
So
Yeah, musically,
go on ahead. No, go on ahead.
yeah. So
I think it's a great song.
musically, it's really I have mixed feelings about it because
Okay.
I feel that the riff is great. I feel that the music is great,
Yeah.
but straight away for me the production is not what it should be.
Right.
Again,
So if you're playing the drinking game, this was going to come up. I didn't want to say it first, but yeah, we have issues. But there are issues.
Yeah.
There are a few things, and I'm going to keep my sort of reserve that on the summing up. But yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I think vocal sounds great. But-
Blaze is, you know, the sweat's dripping off every word.
yeah,
You know
for
what I
me
mean?
the guitar tones are the thing that kind of stick out to me as not sounding quite right.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think the guitars sound big.
Yeah. Muffled. Aye.
I think
Yeah.
they sound and a phrase I'm going to use a lot is far too stratty for me.
Okay. Right.
This album, and I'm going to say this a lot. It's very thin Stratocaster sounding.
Okay.
It's very
Needs a little soupçon of H.
yeah. It misses Adrian Smith, but it misses production.
Yeah. Aye. Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
it's just seems to me like it's recorded in Steve's house, so
Yeah.
it's yeah. So that would be, but a good track, blistering track.
I was, of going back to 1990, right? I'm gonna go all the albums that we've looked at. I'd say it's my favorite opener of
Since
all of,
Moonchild,
since Moonchild.
since Seventh
I
Son.
think it's a great song. I do genuinely, I do love it.
I think it's a really good opener as a song.
Yeah.
I, as you know, I'm a big fan of Sign of the Cross, so I think
Yeah.
it's a cracking opener.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I maybe wouldn't agree with you, but I see exactly where you're
Yeah.
coming
I have a
from.
funny feeling we're gonna not agree
It-
about
it
a
is.
couple of things coming up.
But I'd say it's a better opener than Be Quicker Be Dead.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
a
it
better
is, yeah.
opener than Tail Gunner.
Yes.
As much as I like
Yes,
Tail Gunner as
yes,
well. But
okay.
I think
Yes, it is a better opener. Than
point
Tailgunner.
taken, it's a really good opener.
Yeah, it is.
So and would I also say just it's pretty much the riff from The Wicker Man.
Yes. Okay.
If you
yeah.
take the verse of this,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Dead on.
and I may be wrong
I
about
nearly
this.
thought about that.
Adrian Smith, if you ever watch this, sincere apologies if I'm wrong, but they played this on the Ed Hunter tour
That's right.
when Smith and Dickinson came back, and I just wonder, when Smith was chunking out the verses of this, did he go, now, see if I really chugged that? I wonder, did it come from that?
I don't
you know.
I don't know.
But anyway, no, really good opener, and 3 minutes, no messing around,
Exactly.
straight to the point, unlike us.
Which then brings us on to probably the most divisive song they have ever recorded.
This probably
Track number 2 and lead off single of the album,
The Angel and the
The
Gambler,
Angel and the Gambler.
written solely by Harris.
Oh yeah.
FUTUREAL was by Harris and Blaze.
Yep.
by the way.
Yep.
And this comes in at a stonking 9 minutes 51 seconds.
Couldn't be too long. This song could not be too long.
Okay. Now,
Now, context.
You
What
go
about
for
a
it.
you know the book?
maybe not my book. So.
Contextually, I'll give you my own personal spin on this. 98, 18, you and I in the pubs, in the venue, knocking about. Yep. This opened the door for me to come back in the Maiden.
You went ballistic about this song?
I
Yeah.
like this song. I don't care what anybody says. I think it's really, really good. Right? Now,
Yeah, he loves this song.
I do love it. For many years, I actually wanted to play it at my funeral.
Yes.
Because it's one of the things, you know, you get Maiden could be, you know, it's an accessible Maiden tune.
You think so? Yeah.
If you were listening to this on classic rock radio, right? I'll tell you why. Here's why. Okay, right. I was about to go down a little windy street of nonsense there. The song takes its influences from "Won't Get Fooled Again" by The Who.
Yeah.
All right, 100%. Okay, it is, in my opinion, an homage to that era, which Maiden had never really done before, and that was the era that they grew up in. Hard rock was Pete Townsend, Keith Moon, John Entwistle, and Roger Daltrey. Okay, so if you put the two of them together, similar in length, similar parts as well. So, Maiden's version of that, which brought me back in, and that is why I do love it, folks. It's the same key. I do think it's nearly the same chords, right? But
the vocal melody is completely different.
the vocal melody is completely different.
To the
And
Who's
at the
song,
at the end of the day, this is, I think, Virtual 11 football. This is heavy metal's equivalent of having a kick about with your mates.
Okay. Okay.
Is it good enough to be part of a Maiden album? Andy.
Well, I have very different views on this. I know that there are people that hate this song. I know there are. This is a quite a divisive song. I don't hate it. I think it's a decent track, but I think it's a 5-minute song.
Aye.
I don't think it's a nearly 10-minute song. That's one of the quibbles I have about it.
Right.
And I think we come to a point of, you used the phrase heavy metal there. This is in 1998, and the production and stuff here, it sounds a bit tired. The production, and I'm talking about the guitars, and
Aye.
I think the keyboard sound is a bit crappy and cheap sounding.
Well, that was one thing I was going to say. Yeah.
You know, but the song, the melody, Blaze's voice, I think are all good.
Yeah.
The structure of the song, not so much. I think if you look at the edited version, there's a 6-minute
Yeah, there
version.
is.
To me, that
Arguably
that
too long
runs-
for a lot of people still, but
yeah, but that flows better to
yeah.
me. What I think in Steve Harris's head is what he's done is, we need to encourage people to come out and play live. We'll drum this chorus home, and also
Yeah.
we'll have this big breakdown section where
You can
it'll
get the crowd.
give Blaze an opportunity to get the crowd
Crowd
singing
interaction.
along,
I definitely think so.
and all this kind of thing, which is fine if you're playing the song live. I don't think an audience needs to hear that on a record to then be
Yeah, fair
encouraged
enough.
in a live situation to do that. If they had just done it as a 6-minute song or
Yeah.
a 5-minute song,
Yeah.
I mean, the official video is only 4 minutes, actually.
The visual video was class.
The
Is that where
verses-
Blaze takes his face off?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. The verses. I'm going to talk about the video in a minute, but the song is even shorter.
Yeah.
You know, that may be for money reasons, etc. as well.
Well, yeah.
But if you're going to do a sing along in a live situation, it doesn't need to be the audience. The audience will understand that if you break the music down,
Yeah.
and the front man fucking gets them
Yeah,
singing.
yeah.
You know, so I don't think they needed to do that, and I think this comes down to Steve's obsession with
I was going to say a different word.
live,
Yeah.
with sounding
Yeah.
live, and
Okay.
and I think we come to the crux of what Steve was hearing in his head for quite a number of albums now.
Yeah.
From No Prayer of the Dying, Fear the Dark, Real Life 1,
Yeah.
Real Dead 1, X Factor. It's very different from what a lot of other people we're
Aye.
hearing. You know, this album is produced by him and the mysterious Nigel Green, again the same as the X Factor. But yeah, there's a lot there. I also feel another aspect of the production is where is Blaze's vocals good, but it's not double tracked.
No.
There's no harmonies.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not a criticism of him in any
No,
way.
not
That's
at
a
all.
criticism of
The process?
of Steve,
Yeah.
actually, the producer.
Yeah.
You know,
Aye.
that would be a producer's job to
Aye.
say, right, give us that again, etc., etc. But from interviews in Blaze, it's quite clear that the vocal you're hearing, guys, is the scratch vocal.
First take.
So it's Blaze's first take. Basically, they record the tracks live, and Blaze was under the impression that then at the end he would go in and sing the vocals properly, as is kind of standard procedure. But Steve told him that no, the vocals had a great vibe, so they were okay, and that's for the whole album.
It's a heavy metal kickabout.
You know, so yeah, we'll maybe come back to that in the conclusion thoughts of that. But that's my thoughts on this song. There is a good solo in it.
There's a
Pretty good guitar solo.
Yeah, the
I'd
guitar
say.
solos are good. The breakdown bit, I actually think the breakdown bit. I love the breakdown bit. Just it's far too long. But
It's
you know,
too long, you know.
I could listen to it for about 10 minutes. But anyway,
But this is
you
where
know,
you come to, you know, this is, what are we listening to here? Are we listening to an album track deep cut, which is fine if you
Yeah.
want to do that,
Uh-huh.
or are you listening to the first lead single
yeah,
of an album that is at a really important stage in the band's
Aye.
career here?
Uh-huh.
They're trying to sell the band to a new
Sorta.
generation of fans,
go, yeah, kind of like,
you know.
not last Brawl of Ice, take a spin of the wave. But you know,
But you know what I mean? X
you know,
Factor
the
is
climate,
a
yeah.
difficult period for them.
Absolutely.
Maybe an album that had mixed success.
They're
I
away, they're drifting further and further away from, let's be honest, relevance and
in a way,
Yeah,
yeah. And this album,
Yeah.
I think the X Factor was an album that probably, for a lot of people, there's a question mark over it because of its darkness and the length of the length of the album, and you know, as we discussed, so a large number of those fans would probably have come back and given, new Maiden album, I give this a chance, or new Maiden single, I give it a chance. Do you release a 9-minute questionable Who-esque song with a massive breakdown in it as your first single? That's the point that I.
Well, all I can say is it
make,
brought me back
you know.
in.
Well, it brought you back
You
in,
know what I mean?
but the flip side of that would be you were in the minority
Oh, absolutely.
that were
100%.
brought back
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
I thought it was. I thought it was a good song, but such a strange choice for
Well-
the lead single of the album. And
I have a skewed view of it. I love it, right? So, but does it sit in the album? No, not really. It doesn't sort of sit in the fabric of the album.
it's a strange song.
Yeah,
it's a
it's a
strange
strange
song,
song. It's a
you know.
strange song.
But I think it's got a great melody, and I'm not.
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
where
yeah.
I like it, and I don't want to sound like I'm bashing it. So
Yeah.
I think it's quite a cool
And,
song. I just don't think it's
we saw Blaze do this
the lead single.
2 or 3 gigs ago, before COVID. Anyway, one of the before COVID gigs,
And it
and
sounded
it was
great.
great.
That sounded great. And when the band played it live, it's a bit quicker, etc.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel. Doing that live is okay.
Yeah.
But just doing it on a record. I also think it's rather telling that Rod Smallwood has been on the record saying that he had quite a Barney
That's
with
just what I was going to say.
Steve about this being the
At
first single.
FUTUREAL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rod apparently and Steve had quite an argument as
Yeah.
Rod told him that FUTUREAL should be the first
Yeah.
single of the album, and they had a large
right.
argument.
He's right.
And he's right.
He's right.
Steve put his foot
know.
down.
He's right.
But Rod was right.
Oh, you better put that single. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's where my gripe about that song is.
So yeah, it's okay. It's
Well, you love it.
I love it. Yeah, but it's a curio.
It's a curious song.
Curious song.
Nothing wrong with doing something different, but
That's what you know. Yeah, absolutely.
But to throw that something.
How many
different,
bands have done cover albums or, you know what I mean, garage?
you can do something different, but
Yeah,
I just think, release it as your second single.
Aye.
Even I think
there's
that's,
other songs here I think would have done better as a second single, but I know.
it's another one of a series of very odd decisions I think that were made by Steve during this era. Personally,
It's that papal infallibility thing,
yourself,
isn't it?
I
Bruce
think was
Dickinson
all,
says.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I've made another few notes just on that, just to I hope I'm not labouring the point here,
Not
but
at all. We've
so-
only been talking about it for 12 minutes.
for
It's
12
not
minutes.
where the song is.
there's quite a number of versions released as singles.
Yes.
But there's a 7-inch picture disc, which has
I have.
an amazing piece of Derek Riggs art.
Yeah.
Right? But that wasn't really seen by most people because the kind of crap computerized artwork
Virtual
that was used to promote
CGI. I had the digipack of the 9-minute version, which was black. 2 days. Eddie's
Yes.
Ed Hunter face.
Yeah.
Open up the bloody football. The football team.
So because they had the Ed Hunter computer game in the works,
Yeah.
the album was supposedly promoting that as well, which
Yeah.
is supposed to be bringing in a new generation of fans and all too. But
Shrewd, really, good business sense, really.
in a way,
At that time,
yeah,
thinking about it, yeah.
I think it just come across a bit odd looking. All these different, in a really
Yeah.
another single with a really crap computerized version of the Summer in Time Eddie that looked
Golf.
really so cheap and
Yeah,
awful.
yeah.
I was appalled
Garbage.
by that.
Crap.
They did put live versions
Yes.
from the X Factor,
One I had was Blood in the
on-
World's Hands.
which sounds
Balder.
superb.
Yeah.
And dare I say, that live version of Blood in the World's Hands is better than the version
Yeah.
that's on the X
I think
Factor,
so, yeah.
which shows
Brilliant.
that the band have reached a point where they sound better live
Than they do
than
on
they
record.
do on record.
Mm-hmm.
And yet the records are apparently Steve trying to capture the sound of the band live, and yet the band sound quite
Okay,
dead on
yeah,
records.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Does that
Yeah,
make
I know,
sense?
that's fair enough.
Yeah, Afraid to Shoot Strangers is on one
Yeah,
of them. Blaze sounds absolutely amazing
Yeah.
on singing Afraid to Shoot Strangers.
That's the Fear of the Dark cut that Blaze was born to sing. I
Oh,
think
he
you said
absolutely
that
knocks
before.
that out of the park.
Cracking. Yeah.
So he does, yeah. And the Aftermath and
Yeah.
Man on the Edge are on one of them as well. And yeah, great.
Yep.
They sound great, and a great advert for going to see the band. But then you go, why did those songs sound so different on the album?
Yeah.
If that's what the band actually sound like,
Because they're choked a bit.
they're not
Yeah.
being captured.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway,
That
that is Angel and the Gambler.
Strikes!
Yeah. Oh, I also want to say, sorry, it's
Sorry.
it's about a story of two characters. One's a bit of a rogue, and an angel was sent down to try and put him right. But the rogue is,
Devil the
but the rogue is having none of it. That's what the song's about. Okay, so and the video's cool.
Yeah, the video is cool.
Bit Star Wars, bit Mos
yeah.
Eisley, bit Stranger in a Strange Land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blaze turn his face off. Cool.
Blaze plays that part
Yeah.
really well.
Yeah.
So anyway, track number 3.
Strikes!
Lightning Strikes Twice.
Strikes!
A Murray Harris composition.
Who doesn't love a bit of Dave?
A bit of Dave Murray.
Yeah.
4 minutes 49.
Absolutely. Never would outstay its welcome, this song.
This is one of the best songs on the album
I think it's a great song.
for me.
Great tune.
And unlike the kind of, FUTUREAL's classic kind of Maiden track, Angel and the Gambler is
Yeah.
an oddity.
Not. Yeah. Okay.
This is a classic sounding Maiden
Yeah,
track
it
to
is,
me.
yeah.
The intro's just
Yeah,
classic.
Yeah. Absolutely.
you know,
Absolutely.
And when we saw Blaze there a couple of weeks ago at the gig, he played this, and he said just before it, now, you'll have to help me out with the chorus.
Yeah.
When I recorded this, I didn't think about
Like singing it live.
having to sing it live, and also I sang it, and we recorded it. We kind of came up with the song. We jammed the song.
Yeah.
Recorded it, and that was it.
Yeah.
They literally played it through Did they jam it and then
Yeah.
play it through once or something? He said, and that was it. So that kind of gives you the sense of the speed of the recording process
Yeah.
and how little time Maiden are spending making an album.
Like, they were always quick, but
That's,
you know,
yeah, really quick. But
yeah.
this song sounds
needs
really,
more
really good.
It's a good song.
Nice
It's a great song.
Atmospheric
So it is.
intro.
Great gear changes as well. Think
Mm-hmm.
Blaze sounds great on it. So he does well, as great as you can, you know, but his vocal performance is very, very good. So it is.
I think so. It's Steve has described this as a great never say die type song.
Yeah.
Very positive, hopeful song, and you can probably read a lot of different things into the lyrics as well. Yeah, and I also think this song sounds quite rainbow-y, Richie Blackmore-y,
Yeah, Yannick.
which is
In the-
Yannick's influence.
We haven't
perhaps,
talked about the leads.
you know?
The leads is at track 3, and
You
we
know.
haven't talked about the leads.
Yeah.
Yannick's intro into the solo, the harmonic-y thing that he does.
In this, yeah,
Belter.
yeah.
Yeah, you know.
That is cool.
But, you know, fretboard fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
It sounds
Yeah.
sounds great. So it's a no nonsense song. It doesn't overstay its welcome.
It's a
as
great
you said.
tune. It's a great album track.
Great dynamics.
Super, yeah,
throughout.
dynamic, yeah. The light she is, quiet bit,
Yeah.
and the gear, but it's the gear changes.
Gear
Like, you're-
changes.
You're like
From the dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun,
very good.
to the fast bit.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, and it doesn't
Oh, yeah.
suffer too much from the production. This one.
No, it doesn't.
As much
It's,
as some of the others, and Blaze manages that very difficult
yeah,
chorus so
yeah,
much. How do you even breathe during
yeah,
that?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
Like
getting
even
the-
coming up high at the start, it's hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
When
I
you're
guess
singing,
it's,
you need to come on the top of the note, if you know what I mean.
yeah, trying to get the power into those strikes twice at,
Yeah.
at the,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
You know.
great, a great tune, a great tune.
great tune, yes, impressive.
Impressive,
Yeah,
excellent.
on to track number 4 then.
Oh, sure. What do you want to say about this nonsense?
So track number 4 is The Klansman.
Oh, I don't even know what to say. I don't even write any notes about it.
9 minutes and 6 seconds.
Yeah.
Um,
What can you say about this track?
well, the first thing we'll say is this is probably, and well, without doubt, this is the song that most Maiden fans will be familiar with.
Yeah.
Whether
Absolutely.
and they may have never really listened to Virtual 11, but they'll know The Klansman. Because the band have played it, continue to play it.
Yep. To this day.
To this day.
To this current tour.
Yep. So
Unless they change the set list for the 24 leg of it, but they won't.
so it's from
Yep.
from that point, it's the best song on the album.
Best
From that
song on the
point,
album.
It's the
Classic.
One, it's a Maiden classic, isn't it?
It's the only classic it's on.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only
Yeah.
It's the only. It's nearly. No.
I can't.
Yes, it is. It fucking is. It's the best Maiden song of the 90s.
No, Fear the Dark's the best Maiden
No,
song. of the
I think
90s.
that's better than Fear the Dark.
I think Fear the Dark's a bigger song than.
No, I like it, Clowns.
So fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
No, I think it's better than Fear the Dark.
We'll put it this way: even to be measuring it up there and to be in
Yeah, no, fair enough. Yeah.
to be in the equation.
Like, it's not Alexander the Great, let's be honest.
No.
But then I do have a twisted love of Maiden,
No.
some Maiden tracks, but I think this song is just brilliant.
And you're right. It is one of the. It's up there as one of the best songs of the 90s. I would put Sign of the Cross in that bracket as well.
Sign of the Cross
Personally,
is really good as well.
You
You're
know,
right,
but
actually.
It's up. It's
Yeah.
up in that small group of. These are the best songs.
I like
of
the
the
Clans
90s,
band better than
definitely.
them other two, but those are both really good. I'll tell you why I say that about Fear the Dark is because can't believe I'm saying this, but when you see them live, I get more excited when this comes on.
It's probably because you've heard Fear the Dark more. would it
Probably.
be? You know, maybe,
I
or maybe,
wore out that picture disc from.
maybe you just prefer this song.
I do, yeah.
You know,
I do, yeah,
that's
I do.
it is a cracking song.
Yeah.
So it is an epic.
An absolute epic. Gets
It-
a seal of approval.
Yeah.
Gets the Ed Factor plus 7 minute epic tag.
Inspired by Braveheart, the Mel Gibson movie about medieval Scotland
them
in the
bloody
1300s. And really, it's about the Scots.
Land being
Fighting for
confiscated, you know, guerrilla attacks. We're not going to take it. You know, our children will be free. Freedom.
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 And Steve has said it's also a song that, you know, doesn't have to necessarily be about Scotland. It's about anyone who's you know, having to fight to stop your community and your family being taken away from you. So I think
Lovely.
He's the way he
Lovely,
put it. So,
lovely bit of spin there. Good man, Steve.
and a lovely intro.
Yeah, very good.
Also,
Very good.
Also to say a very brave and interesting subject for an English band to take on.
Southern English band too. Yeah.
You know.
But then this is
Steve's interest in history
it reflects that sort of pop culture, more modern version of pop culture that we had with like Edge of Darkness and Man on the Edge as well. You know, maybe not solely Blaze's Steve's responsibility, but it's when you're picking on that. You know what I mean? Also, what I'm thinking as well, see when you watch Braveheart, and you've watched it a lot of times, I've watched it a lot of times. Like, it's a good show, brilliant film. So watch it. But do you know what it reminds me of? Scotland, Euro '96. So bringing it back to football, it's weird, you know. But that's where it became synonymous with Scotland. Really,
it was a big moment.
It was a big moment. They were in Euros, European Championship football. It was being played in England, but you know, and they had like their faces painted blue, half, you know, and I kind of get that there's an added dimension to it there, but obviously they're writing about the film. They're writing about the film. They're not writing about football, but you know, I do. That's another added dimension.
Yeah. Look, it may be that's what's kind of brought that up and inspired Steve. The
Probably not. It's the film. It is the film.
It's the film.
Yeah,
but for me, what I find most interesting about this track, straight off the bat, is that subject matter wise, you are back on classic Maiden territory.
Exactly.
It's not just
storytelling,
here.
history.
We're history storytelling. Whether the first song's about
fighting, you know.
First song's about virtual reality. The second song's about two abstract characters.
Yeah.
You know, the third song's about, you know, lightning.
Ambiguous.
It's kind of ambiguous, but you know, whether this is you know, this is classic Maiden territory.
Yeah.
Starts off with a cool intro with a kind of bass jig, I would say.
Oh yeah.
As
Absolutely.
well,
Very good.
the little jig that's in there. I love that little. Yeah, it's cool. It feels like a jig.
Yeah, you can hear that in their latest album.
Those that proggy influence.
Absolutely.
That, you know,
And we said that about the Blaze Bayley era. This is where the proggy side of Maiden comes to the fore.
Maybe comes to the fore.
It does, especially in this song. It's brilliant. It's a
of
Harris song. Yannick and his Yannick nearly writes Irish melodies on his guitar sometimes, I think.
There's
a lot of that. There's a lot of that in it too, which is great.
There is.
You know,
I do have some issues with the guitar sounds.
Yeah.
One of the things I've noticed here is, like, you know, the twin lead parts. I said this.
Searing.
I said this about the on the X Factor. They're not actually twin leads. They're both playing the same thing, the same line. You know, in the it's like, why isn't the other one? Why isn't one playing a harmony of the line? I don't understand that. It seems to be a consistent.
Keep in with your strattiness to beef the sound out of it.
You would think even more so. You would play the lower harmony.
Exactly.
I just don't get that. They did that a lot in the X Factor as well, and I don't know, is it a conscious decision? Is it just they weren't thinking, or they couldn't be arsed over dubbing, or
God,
I don't.
Can you imagine?
I don't know. I just don't know. It seems such an unnatural. As a guitar player, it seems such an unnatural thing to do.
Exactly.
If one, you know, I was playing in a band with you and you played the high harmony, I would automatically play a lower harmony.
You'd be on the base of your strings, giving it a bit of
to thicken it up. So
up here.
It's such a weird thing for a professional band.
Whose bread and butter is twin lead
It
guitar.
was twin lead
Yeah,
guitar.
yeah.
For them to
Harmonised.
for
That's something actually. I was
strange.
actually just thinking about this morning. You know, like, where are the harmonies again? Mm-hmm. You know,
I'll tell you where the harmonies are later on in the album.
can't bloody wait.
Because I made a note. They do produce one at a certain point, so I will point it out. But it's a real fast paced song. I think
Yeah.
Blaze sounds great.
Doesn't seem like 9 minutes odd as well.
No,
Yeah.
it doesn't.
Which is always a sign of a great Maiden epic, pulsating drama. There's light, there's shade, there's elements of soft, there's elements of hard, there's sing along bits. I don't know how to describe it. You know, before the solo comes in, that we love when Maiden do that. They bring in another figure in the
line.
music, another, you know, and it just brings it in beautifully. So it does.
Yeah. And I think Nico's on fire in this track as well.
First time I've mentioned Nico, and it's halfway through the album.
Yep, he's just on it. So he is.
Yeah.
He's just unleashing it.
Yeah.
And he just sounds absolutely phenomenal.
He was in Nets for most of this album.
I do think, from a critical point of view, that the lack of twin leads, I think that would have thickened it up a bit. And also, I do feel it's a bit of a shame that they didn't afford Blaze more of an opportunity to get some harmonies in there.
Yeah.
I mean, even the sing along whoa whoa whoa.
Yeah.
But it's literally, it's not even double tracked, and
Yeah.
you kind of think the only bit he's got a layered vocal is the freedom bit, and it's kind of like, just production wise, again, that could have been made sound so much bigger.
You know, with more time and with arguably, well, we'll talk about that at the end.
Yeah.
A guiding hand.
A guiding hand on the production wheels. But it's a cracking song, and those are, you know, just us.
It is a great song.
Yeah.
You'll see it. You'll see Maiden. You'll have listened to live albums. You'll have heard it. It's great. It's great.
And it is
classic.
by far and wide the best song on this album.
Yes, I agree.
There's no doubt about
I agree
that.
with you.
So we will move on to track number.
Turn the
5.
vinyl over.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you don't. I don't know.
vinyl
I've never had the vinyl last one.
Yeah.
That was the CD.
When two worlds
collide.
A Murray Bailey Harris composition. Clocking in.
Dave in again.
Dave Murray in again. Yes, clocking in at 6 minutes and 13 seconds.
Okay. Brilliant points scoring for using the word declination
Yes.
in the lyrics.
Yes.
It's an asteroid or whatever. It's not, you know, pop culture wise, we had Armageddon, we had Deep Impact, but I did my homework and they were after this album came out. But there must have been something in the water, sort of Armageddon, meteors. Maybe there was something in science or something. I don't know. We were too busy doing our A levels or being in the pub.
So I have a different view on that. So
do you? Okay.
Steve is
asteroid hits Earth, shocker. I've written.
Steve has said, I think this song is Blaze trying to write about his experience of joining Iron Maiden and of his life the way it was.
Okay.
Colliding with his life and how his life has changed. Yeah.
But if that was the case, I'm not saying it's wrong. It's quite negative.
Well,
anger and pain for those that remain when two words collide.
Yeah. Maybe for ones who couldn't go on that journey with him.
Like a wood's pain, guys.
Maybe.
Bruce.
I don't know. You know. Maybe.
Anyway.
You don't know. You know. You don't know who.
I'm
has
just
been left
always
behind.
in the. I don't ever really think of Maiden as an emotion. They're more a storyteller, you know.
Well,
but, okay.
Yes, but the X Factor and Virtual 11 have less of the storytelling and more of this.
I think this is more coming back to what we know, though. You know what I mean? With Klansman.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, I don't get that. But,
is interesting that the song can work on both levels.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. It could be more of the literal science fiction planets.
Blaze
You know,
writes.
surely a
Blaze
good-
does write from the heart. He writes
Yeah.
from heart now. Yeah.
And a good analogy should be that way, that it
Yeah.
can be taken literal or have this other depth to it. So I think lyrically it's probably quite an interesting
It's a great.
track.
It's a great tune. Yeah, it
Um,
is. I like it. I love the intro's like Run Like Hell a wee bit, like from Pink Floyd's The Wall. When I listen to it,
Right, okay.
and then I listen
okay.
to Pink Floyd The Wall and Run Like Hell. I was like, it's not really like it at all, but it puts me in mind of it. You know that sort of.
You like this song?
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
like it. I like the intro. Yeah, I like the. It's what happens with me and albums of Iron Maiden albums of the 1990s in particular. Ones that I don't know that well, they get into them. I get really into them. I listen to them and go, "This is actually better than what people think." And then objectively, I take a step back, and I think to myself, "No, would I put this on a top 10 Iron Maiden of the 90s? No, I wouldn't." But I do think it's a good album track.
Okay.
I like it.
Interesting.
I do like it. It's
right.
solid leads. Okay, it's solid. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's a solid track. Your opinion might differ. Andrew.
I don't really like this song.
Do you not? Okay,
No, I don't like this song.
There's another song I don't like in this album. We'll talk about that later. But
I think this song's really uninspiring and
really,
musically.
yet you say about the dual meaning.
So the
Musically, sorry.
musically, I mean the meaning of the lyrics. When you read the lyrics, yeah, I get that, and that's interesting. But the music for me doesn't really carry it.
The younger the pain.
I think it's quite uninspiring sounding.
I think so.
I think this is one of the tracks that for me the production just is awful and really comes really hamstrings an already pretty mediocre track.
Right. Okay.
I think it's pedestrian. I think it plods.
Okay.
I think it's a bit of a hard listen.
Yeah.
At
Okay.
6 minutes, I find myself.
I think Blaze does a good job of it though. The anger, it's just that anger, the pain. I think I've been singing it for days.
For days?
The two words can
Oh,
lie.
fair enough. Yeah, I don't necessarily think. I don't necessarily think it's him again. I just think it's the
No.
whole setup. I think the guitar tones are shit. I really
Yeah.
do.
Okay.
I just think there's something really cheap sounding about it. It sounds like they're plugged into a Tascam or something. You know.
Aye. Other recording devices are available.
Yeah, and that's not knocking Tascam, but this is supposed to be one of the biggest metal bands in the world, if not the premier
Okay,
metal
right,
band.
yeah, I kind of have I have disengaged myself from that
you know?
sort of train of thought because it's what I'm used to it with the X Factor and production wise. But I'm just listening to the song.
Yeah, you see,
I'm all about Blaze in this album because it's the last time I'm going to hear him with Maiden. You know what I mean?
fair enough, but
I actually give more of my time to Blaze and less of my time to the songs, the structure of the songs and things like that.
right, okay. I'm trying to look at both.
Aye, of course you are.
and
Yeah, of course.
you know, because it is Iron
You're
Maiden.
you're doing it properly, and I'm just fucking about.
No, it's different ways of doing it. Yeah,
But I could not help in this album to look at Blaze, and you know, with my research and that, I kind of, you know, I diverted a wee bit to just think a bit more about him and his legacy. Really?
well, I think in some ways it's interesting you should say this, but like in the likes of this track, I think he is actually kind of again. I think he's actually been let down a bit by the producer. By you know, you have to remember, Blaze Bayley's come into this band. This band are a huge band, and really Steve Harris is mentoring him. He's more experienced. Blaze is a bit younger.
Okay.
He hasn't been in a band of this side before. He's, you know, putting his faith in the band's leader, who's taken it upon himself to produce these albums as well.
Yeah.
Now, the point of a producer is to get the best performance out of a singer. Do you get the best performance out of the singer by asking him to do a scratch vocal initially and then telling him that no, actually that vocal's good enough, that's what's going on the album? You know, it's like the guy didn't even know this was the take that was going on the album.
Yeah, okay.
You know, for me, I think that's a bit odd, and I know it hasn't been meant that way.
Yeah.
But you know, I think there's a couple of tricks missed. You know, again, there's twin leads, but they're playing the same lines, and there's no rhythm guitars.
Yeah.
So there's a dropout. The two guitars are galloping, and then they go
Yeah.
and it's just the bass and the drums. That's not Maiden.
Okay.
There should be a gallop there.
God, I wish I'd listened to that a bit more, you know.
The guitar should be.
okay.
I feel like the guitar should be galloping, particularly when your production is so weak. I mean, could you not just get Dave or Yannick to
Play on the line.
overdub? You know, it almost feels like they could be arsed dubbing in a rhythm guitar again.
That's an interesting point, Andy. They couldn't be arsed.
You know, they
Might
couldn't be
come
arsed.
back to that later on.
Yes, I will as well.
I think it
there's
might come back to that point later on.
there's a rushed element to this album and something, or they've forgotten how to make a proper record, and that you have to put the work in. Yeah.
So you're not a great fan of this track.
I'm not a
least favorite track so far.
least favorite track so far.
Okay, fair enough.
And again, a lack of harmonies, a lack of double tracking the vocals.
It would be my least favorite track so far, to be honest, too. But,
Yeah. So there's a lot. In sum, I think it's a mediocre song. But if you're taking a mediocre song and production-wise, spend a bit of time doing more of even what I would call the basics, it would sound better sonically.
Yeah.
And it doesn't.
Yeah.
They haven't.
Okay.
They've just played it. It's poorly recorded. And that's it. So I think it really shows up in this one. So yeah, that's my thought on that.
Moving on then to
The Educated Fool. 6 minutes 46 seconds.
Does it feel longer?
Yes. This is a Steve.
I'm really worried because right, okay. I thought this is okay.
I'm not a fan of this song either.
No.
So I'm not. No. And I tell you, both this. And
Oh no! Hold on. Right. No.
they sound better live. A
Okay.
1,000 times better.
It's still
than on this record.
It's not as good as When Two Worlds Collide. But there's a few wee bits in this I quite like. The end.
Okay, fair enough.
Time will go. I will.
I think it's really weak. I don't like this song.
I hear the next iteration of Maiden a wee bit now.
But this iteration of Maiden.
No, but the
And at
groundwork, the groundwork. No, don't get Jesus Christ. I'm talking like one tiny wee bit in one song.
Okay.
On an album, which let's be honest, isn't going to be trouble in the top 10.
No.
But
But it should be
There-
because it's Iron Maiden. That's the point.
no, I mean the top 10 of Iron Maiden albums.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So, but that wee bit there, we're not going to probably talk about this a lot. This song, but that bit at the end, that sort of. I would quite like
kinda
it.
like
I'm
the-
listening to Blaze again.
Like the chorus.
Yeah. I'm listening to Blaze again.
Well, okay. Well, look, it's got kind of an intro.
Musically, it's not great. I don't think.
I've written I've written musically very uninspiring,
Yeah.
and I think it's a bit
rushed.
kind of Maiden by numbers.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It's not, well, I don't even think it's made by numbers, to be honest with you. I think it's quite
some
dirty.
Some of the lines are.
Yeah.
It's just like, we just hit the scale and pick a few notes out. It's
okay.
I don't think there's not.
Not
It's not a
fan.
great. No, I'm not a fan of it. I think the bit you've picked out is kind of the chorus.
Aye.
I think it's mixed quite badly, as in the vocals are the wrong way round.
Aye.
So if you listen to it,
Okay.
Blaze, there's quite a powerful vocal,
Yeah.
and then there's a lower,
Aye,
softer
that's right,
one.
yeah.
But the lower, softer one's
higher.
louder.
Yeah. Aye.
in the
That's
mix.
right. It's weird.
Which is wrong.
Yeah.
It's just badly mixed. So again, this is where it actually kind of hampers what Blaze is doing.
Yeah.
It's mixed arse about face, to me.
I
I
get you. I get what you're saying.
So-
It's that
sounds-
sort of
Sounds wrong. Just
It's not high. It's not a harmony, really. It's like where it'll go. No, I'm not gonna say.
Well, it is a harmony, but it should be. Those should be panned and low, and then they support the bigger vocal.
okay.
To me, it just doesn't
Well,
sit right, and it's not it's not the way it's been sung.
No.
It's the way it's mixed. It's
Yeah.
just mixed wrong.
Yeah.
It just doesn't sound right from that point of view to me. Yeah, I think it's a very strange song.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think it's all right, but you know, again, it would be the first real bit of filler.
Pedestrian.
Yeah.
It's not the first bit of filler for me. I mean,
Yeah,
the previous song is definitely
collides.
filler, and this is filler. I think it's strange, but they're both 6-minute odd fillers.
Okay.
Like, that's
Right. Right, we'll move on, Andy.
well. I was one final point about it. Just is
I'm really worried about that.
what the song's about. Steve has said this song, "The Educated Fool,"
Yeah.
is about growing older
Oh,
and
aye.
how everyone expects you to be wiser,
But you're not.
The more you know, the less you seem to actually have the answers. And I wondered, was that a nod to all the questions he's faced about the direction
Yeah.
men have been going in? Was just another point
Yeah.
I wanted to make.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but next track, "Don't Look to the Eyes of a Stranger."
Now, I've written one word review. Shite.
I would agree.
Oh, thank God. I thought you were going to say you like this song. I was
No.
going to go, what song's he talking about? That's
No, I don't like this song.
Don't Look to the Eyes of a Stranger.
I don't like this song at all. It's another Steve Harris composition, and it's 8 minutes 11 seconds. And,
Really? I felt like about 8
you
months.
know, and yeah, it's a bit Maiden by numbers
Yeah.
as well. It sounds uninspired, and a lot of this may be because the production is so poor. That's the
Really bad string synth on it, isn't it, as well?
keyboards sound cheap
Yeah.
and are far too loud in the mix.
Yeah.
It's
Really bad.
kind of uninspired guitar lick. You know, the song's about being a parent and how everyone is a threat. You can see everyone as a threat, that type of thing. So in
Even the
subject
title,
wise, it's
Don't Look to the Eyes of a Stranger.
yeah, it's strange.
It's you know, I don't have anything more to say about it. You know, it's
Couple of quick things to say
Yeah.
if you don't.
I really don't.
It's a
know.
bit all over the place. A lot of kind of tempo changes that seem very disconnected. It
Yes.
feels like just different parts put
Yes,
together.
it's like Lego.
It's like
Lego Maiden.
And it doesn't feel to me like a natural song.
No.
It feels like a deliberate attempt to try and write something that's a bit proggy but also
Yeah.
has fast bits in it or something. I don't know. It just seems and there also is again another example of this huge repeated breakdown,
Yeah.
which it may be back to this
Don't look to.
like
Yeah.
Angel and the Gambler. You know,
Although not as good.
no, it's not as good as a
Yeah.
song. No, it's not as good as a song. But
And
back to
I-
that. Why do we need
Yeah.
to hear that 1,000 times?
But if it was 4 minutes long, it would still be not great. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Still be
So-
shit.
So
Let's be honest.
yeah, it's a very very poor track, and yeah.
Aye.
So that's all I have to say about.
I don't really have anything good to say about that track at all.
About-
I you know, I can listen to the rest of the album. That's painful to listen to.
It is a
Yeah.
terrible track, isn't
Painful.
it? Yeah.
Painful.
Yeah. Yep.
Painful.
So we are agreed on that.
Jesus, we're in the last song.
We're on the last song. Como
That's
estas
Amigos. Oh, Gers Bayley.
A Gers Bayley track, and I'm glad to say
No Ariaris fingerprints on this one.
no, and I think it may be the first song up to this point in Maiden's history that he hasn't written the closing song.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but yes, after bashing the last 3 tracks,
Yeah.
you will be relieved to say that I like this song.
This is a good song.
I think this is a lovely song,
Heartfelt,
heartfelt,
emotional.
emotional, and actually, on reflection, a very fitting, emotional
Poignant.
vocal performance
Yeah.
for it to be Blaze's last song.
This and you can't not have that nostalgic tinge in this song when you listen to it.
When you listen to it,
You know.
yeah.
It's the song it's quite a haunting song, I
It's
suppose.
a haunting
Yeah.
song, and basically Blaze was in Argentina.
Yes. They went to see
and
the war memorial.
went to see a
Yeah.
war memorial, and I think he had known someone at school.
Yes, that's right. A friend of his.
A friend of his who had
died in the Falklands.
died in the Falklands. But going and seeing the war memorial over there, you know, I guess he's the song is about the futility on the loss on both sides of that conflict and of any conflict.
Yeah.
So it's a moving lyric, and I think Yannick has written really what am I trying to say? The lyrics and the music fit very well.
Yeah, they do.
So the intro's
The
lovely.
lovely intro.
Yeah, it's a lovely bit of guitar work.
You know, it's Yannick, and you know what he's very, very good at is conveying some message of emotion in a guitar line. You know, really nice.
Yeah,
And
it's the only. Sorry to interrupt you,
No, go
Chris.
ahead.
It's the only song written by Yannick on the whole album.
it's the only creative input that he has, which I find a bit strange. Because
For someone who's so prolific,
yeah, but in the previous album,
he's
Blaze Bayley,
on it a lot.
yeah,
Yeah.
Lord of Flies, no, not Lord of Flies,
Yes, Lord of the Flies.
Man Made,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, as well. You know, so
Gers wrote a lot in the
Yeah,
X Factor, and I think a couple of the songs that weren't on it were written by him as well.
yeah,
But yeah, for him to just have one writing credit
Yeah.
in this album seems odd to
Yeah,
me. I
might need to touch on in the closing thoughts a wee bit, you know, really,
Yeah,
Andy. But
yeah.
this album, this song is it's a fitting end to the album. It's a fitting end to the era.
yeah,
And again, sorry, go on. No, you
I
say
was
what you
I was just gonna say.
yeah. No, I'm not finished. But go ahead. Go ahead.
You finish then.
No, you finish.
I was just gonna say. Finally, by the way, this song has a guitar harmony in it,
Yeah, that's it. Yep. It does.
and it's the best bit of guitar. That. How much better when you actually harmonize?
Yeah.
You know, it sounds so much
Yeah.
thicker, and it just, you know, that natural phase you get when two guitars
Yeah.
play a line
Yeah.
together. It just sounds so much better, and you're kind of like, guys, why have you not done that for all the lead twin
Who
lead
knows?
parts?
But who knows?
I don't
This is
know
the thing.
why it's such a strange decision to have not done that
Yeah.
more. But yes, it's a great credit to this
Yeah.
track that they actually did put a twin lead on there. What a difference!
It sounds. It does. It's very reflective of some of the stuff that Blaze has done in his solo work, I think, as well. You know, he's a very it's the emotion in the emotion in the song,
in the song,
you know,
and emotion in the voice,
and it's something
that's
that
great.
didn't
You know,
really exist in the Dickinson era. Emotional, heart tug at your hearts, apart from Wasting Love. We'll not talk about that. But you know what I mean. But this is Blaze. It's really quite sad because what's happening here is I think he's really got his knuckle deep in the tune, and it could have been a springboard to what was to come.
Well,
Possibly.
possibly,
You know.
possibly. I mean, you know, again, for me, it comes down to the production. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a really good song, despite. Or
Yeah,
the production,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
production does
yeah,
nothing to
yeah.
aid it.
No.
But
right.
I think the lyrics, the vocal performance, and the lovely marriage between Yannick's playing
Yeah.
and the lyrical content make this a strong track.
Yeah.
But there's nothing on the recording or production side that enhance any of that.
No, there's not.
You
No.
know, so had this have been recorded by a proper producer in a proper studio,
Yeah.
this would be an absolutely epic
Yeah.
track. I feel, you know.
Okay. Okay,
I mean,
agree.
there's not a harmony in sight either, vocally.
yeah.
You know. So and I feel that that's something in Blaze's some of his solo work. He does some really fantastic harmonies in. He never really got the chance to
Yeah.
express that.
Yeah,
Maybe.
exactly.
But this is a beautiful song,
Brilliant
and
song.
Blaze actually feels this is his biggest
Yes, that's what he told us.
song. He told us,
You know?
if you watch the interview at the start
Yeah.
of this, his biggest song. Personally, although he's aware that fans will pick the Klansman or Sign of the Cross or something, he feels this is a really big song
Yeah.
for him.
Yeah.
Personally,
Yeah.
and I can see why.
Yeah, there's DNA in the songs that he's recording now.
Yeah,
In there, you know what I mean?
I do feel the song should have perhaps been called "No More Tears"
Yeah.
because that's the chorus, and it would have maybe resonated a bit more
Yeah.
with fans rather than the title. Although
That's
the title is kind of
How are you, my
cool.
friends? Isn't it?
Yeah.
What's that? Yeah. Yeah.
That's a minor thing personally.
Aye.
Just the thought,
And I suppose maybe I thought,
might have been a bit more relatable.
crowds and etc. are probably down in Europe or America. Certainly were for this tour anyway. But and they were still packing out big places in
Well,
South America.
that's very true. That's very, very true. I am saying that
Yeah.
coming from an English-speaking country,
Yeah.
so perhaps that title.
He didn't sing
you
it
know,
in Spanish, but maybe it would have helped.
But having that as the title,
yeah.
maybe means it's
Could
more
well be.
relevant to South America and Argentina, etc. So yeah, good point, Chris. But yeah, it's a good note, a somber note to finish an album on.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopeful. Somber, poignant, but there's an element of hope in there.
Okay, yeah. And a short song for a
Yeah.
maiden closer
Yeah.
at 5 minutes 26 is not usually, usually they finish an album with an epic,
Exactly.
so
13 minutes. Yeah.
I mean, again, correct me if I'm wrong. Is this
the shortest
is this the
closer?
shortest closer? Should have researched that. I think it might be.
Could well be.
It'd be hard pushed to have
Could well
a
be.
song that's
Yeah.
Would Killers have a
yeah.
shorter closer, perhaps? Not sure, guys. We didn't check that, but
Apologies.
apologies for not checking that.
The devil's in the detail.
So,
Summing up or what, or chatting a bit more.
well, we
Cover
could
art, whatever.
cover
A
art.
wee bit about the cover.
Melvin Grant is
Yep,
back in the scene
back
for
on
this
the
one
scene.
after doing Fear of the Dark.
Yep.
He did, and then it was Hugh Syme or
Yep.
Sim, however you pronounce
Yep.
that, for X Factor. But yeah, it's a strange one
It is weird.
because so it's Eddie in this kind of, he was asked to, the artist was asked to do
Dreamscape.
like a virtual reality nightmare dreamscape
Yeah.
type thing, and it's a very sinister looking Eddie actually.
Yeah.
But after doing the artwork, he was then asked to, can you throw a football
Football
reference
match in there. Yeah, exactly.
So the guys had to, at the last minute, it seems, kind of pull this corner and put like a guy in a VR, kid in a VR
Yeah.
headset with a football pitch in the back.
Yeah.
To try and tie those weird elements together. And it just looks a bit weird because of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I think that ruins it
It's very dated looking because of the wheel in the middle.
because of the way that, yeah.
Definitely. I don't like the logo. I don't like the logo. I think the logo of
Yeah.
the actual Virtual 11 reeks of Farscape or the X-Files or something like that. Babylon 5.
It looks
so
shit. Yeah.
You said it.
I think so as well.
It's
So I don't like the album title, and I don't like the font they use for it either. I also don't like the fact that they took the iconic Iron Maiden logo
Yeah, chopped it.
and chopped the bottom of it. The R, the M,
Yeah.
the N. Why do that? And they kept that until, was it Final Frontier or Book of Souls?
Book of Souls, I think it was.
Why
Yeah.
on earth? And,
I don't
and
know.
No one has ever given me a really good answer apart
Cheaper
from.
cheap. You could get more stickers on a sheet or something. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I don't know. It seemed
It's a
like
business. It's a business.
I think they were
decision,
trying to
yeah.
modernize, but
Yeah.
to me it just looked cheap. It just looked
Yeah.
like they cheapened. And you're trying to change an iconic logo.
Yeah.
What I just didn't get it. It actually annoyed me as a fan.
Yeah.
I thought, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're making Maiden less Maiden, and it just seemed to me it's a strange another one of those strange
Yeah.
decisions
Yeah.
that are being made during this
It's
time.
hampered. This era is hampered by bizarre
Bizarre decisions, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you could call the album. Bizarre Decisions.
Bizarre decisions. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and those are Steve's decisions and look, love the guy. He's given us so many awesome songs and stuff. But during this era, I think just some strange decisions, in my humble opinion. We chat a little bit about the Virtual 11 tour before we conclude.
I think we need to mention it. I do.
Yeah.
I do.
So Virtual 11 tour
kind of need to close off this era.
Kicked off 22nd of April and only ran to the 12th of December, 98. Short.
Yeah.
Have you looked at the set list? Because I have it.
Good. I don't have it. I haven't a clue.
Virtual 11 set
All
list.
I know is the Dio wasn't there with them, and I thought, imagine going to see that. In a roller drum in Poughkeepsie with 300 other people.
I didn't get to see this tour.
Did they come to Belfast?
No. This tour was, I'm pretty sure, cut shorter than it was supposed to be. They didn't come to Dublin. They didn't come to Belfast.
No.
No. But they did play London, and they played a few places over in England and that, but smaller places.
Yeah.
This tour was definitely cut short anyway.
Okay.
Set list.
Number 1, FUTUREAL.
Yep.
Number 2,
Angel and the Gambler.
Really? Okay. Right.
Yep. Man on the Edge.
But I had that as number 2.
Lightning Strikes Twice.
Okay. Yeah.
Heaven Can Wait.
Okay.
The Klansman.
Yep.
When Two Worlds Collide.
Yep.
Lord of the Flies.
Yep.
2 Minutes to Midnight. The Educated Fool. Sign of the Cross. Hallowed be the Name. Afraid to Shoot Strangers. The Evil That Men Do. Clairvoyant. Fear the Dark. Iron Maiden. Number of the Beast. Trooper. Sanctuary. Now,
That's a pretty good set list.
that is the set list, although there were a few variations. They played
From
Murders in the Rue Morgue
the Ano era.
a number of times,
Yeah.
but then dropped it.
Why?
I looked it up on YouTube. You just look up Murders of the Rue Morgue 1998, and Blaze sounds awesome.
He would nail that.
Nailed it.
More so than Heaven Can Wait, anyway.
More so than Heaven Can Wait, which
Bizarre
bizarre
decisions.
Bizarre decisions. And look, it's clear Maiden have always tried to push their new material. And from this set list, it's really clear that they're trying to push the Blaze era stuff. And look, that's fair enough. You know, that's what they were trying to do. It's an awful lot of
Could have sign of the cross on that? No.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
So you know, I would just question, like, why would you play The Educated Fool?
Even stick in Look for the Truth or something. I love Look for the Truth.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
You know, there's not a lot of X Factor.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose there's 3, but you know, they're
mad.
pushing a lot of the new album, I suppose, which is what they always do. You know, so I don't think there's anything there apart from, as you say. I do feel like they could have played a few more Diano era ones. Rothschild. Blaze sounds fantastic singing it on the X Factor.
Yeah.
Why? You know, it's 3 minutes.
Perfect.
Why is it not in the set list?
Absolutely
you
perfect.
know, I just feel stuff like, you know, 2 Minutes to Midnight and the Clairvoyant.
Prowler.
You know, why are they in? You know, you could have played Prowler.
Prowler would be a good one.
You know, Murders in the Rue Morgue was there. You know, Phantom of the Opera. Blaze singing that would have been fantastic.
Oh,
you know,
been brilliant at it.
a bit more Diano era, I feel. But what I would say is you can go and look up the Virtual 11 tour. There's the songs are all on the internet. You can watch whole gigs and stuff like that.
Right.
But again, I would say a lot of these tracks come across a lot better live.
Yeah.
The songs are faster. There's an energy there that just is lacking on the record.
Yeah.
I would say, and that sounds like I'm really knocking the album, but
Well, deservedly so, maybe.
maybe. Will we try and come to a conclusion then on the album? So
Yeah. So you go final thoughts first.
So I'll go final thoughts first. So I think this album seemed rather rushed.
Okay.
Um,
You been looking at my notes?
no, no, I haven't.
Agree with you totally.
I think there is rumors that you know, that I know Blaze has said that both Dream of Mirrors and Blood Brothers were
Nomad and
were
Mercenary.
on, you know, yeah, there's other songs that were there, you know, and this album, it feels like it's lacking a centerpiece in some kind of
totally.
way, and yet that's an odd thing to say.
Oh, I don't know about that. Yeah,
You know,
okay.
it's an odd thing to say because it's got the Clansman on it, you know, but there's, you know, numerous other quite long songs there that are just cack.
Yeah.
You know, you know, the other things that would point to it being a rushed album was they took their time over the X Factor,
Yeah.
and yet this album is done. I think it seems to be in a matter of months type thing.
Yeah.
Nico said he started in June and ended in June.
Just what I was going to say.
So Nico came in and knocked his parts out and fucked off. Now maybe that's always what Nico's done, but
Come on.
but come on,
Listen to Dream of Mirrors. The drums on it.
but maybe he just came in and knocked it out.
The one with the fastest right foot in
Foot
history.
in history, you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
I don't really have the context of that, but what I do think is we've mentioned Blaze, it being the scratch vocal, so the demo vocal is actually being used. That seems to me, why would you do that? Maybe it was Steve thinking, well, he's relaxed and the vocal sounds really good. Why do I need to get him to sing again? But I think that was a strange one. And the big thing for me is just the guitar tones.
Yeah.
They just sound so. There's no time spent on making those guitars sound good or powerful or
Cotton, even. Yeah.
cotton.
Yeah.
Even it just sounds.
You're, like, you brought in like the Rainbow, talked about them earlier on. Like Richie Blackmore played the guitar like he was swinging an axe. You know what I mean? And it was always to the fore in all the bands he was in. But
And you're right, but that was in 1970 something.
but there's a fundamental
This is
link.
1998.
There's a fundamental link. Martin Birch.
Well, Martin Birch, yes, but the lack of Martin Birch,
That's
I
what
would
I'm
say,
saying.
is the
There's a link there.
yeah.
You know what I mean? This album misses the guiding hand of a producer.
Massively so.
Would it be any better? It would probably get half a mark more.
No, it would get a lot more.
I think so.
I
So I just think, well, you finish off what you were saying.
No, I think it would get a lot more if you had a proper producer in, because producers enhance songs, man, and they enhance.
Aye, but how much did Martin Birch have as a guidance for the actual songwriting process? I mean, I don't know.
No, so well, you say that, but in order for a great example is Bruce Dickinson singing the intro of the Number of the Beast.
Oh, aye. Yeah.
So what Martin Birch intentionally did was get Bruce Dickinson to sing it over and
That's right,
over
that's right.
and over and over. He wasn't doing that because Bruce was singing it poorly. He was doing it to get Bruce really,
Really
really,
annoyed.
really
Yeah.
worked up.
Yeah.
So then he could just say, right, now I want you to do a big scream.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that shows that the producer had already figured out in his head,
What
this
does
is
it
what
sound
this
like?
needs to
Yeah.
sound like. They hadn't maybe written a scream,
Okay.
is point one of that. Point number two is the producer knew how to get the best
Aye, the best
scream
performance.
out of that guy.
Yeah.
And the guy didn't know he was even doing it to
Yeah.
him.
That's right. Yeah.
You know? So it's those little things all added up over an album.
All right. Well,
You know, the producer's like the director.
Yeah.
The producer takes control and
Yeah.
you know, musicians relaxed and you know, they perform, and yes, they've written the songs, but sonically it's all about the producer knowing, you know, right, try playing this. They suggest things all the time.
yeah.
You know, why don't you try playing a twin lead
Or
there.
that amp.
Why don't you try playing a fifth in
Yeah.
that bit? Mm-hmm. Why don't you try this amp?
Yeah.
Why don't you try this tone? Why don't we? I want you to sing that
you
again,
get a
Blaze, so you can layer it
Humbucker
up.
pickup and that's track.
Exactly. It's all of those things,
Yeah.
and the album would sound 1,000 times better
Well,
for that. Now, would it be peace of mind? No. But sorry, I was just going to say,
Go
but
ahead.
the album's rushed and it doesn't have a producer.
The album's rushed and it doesn't have a producer.
Yeah, it's been produced by
Yes.
Steve. I think it's a strange album. I want to point out that I don't blame this album. A lot of people say it's shit because it's got Blaze Bayley on it. I don't feel like that at all. I feel that Blaze's performance is really good on it,
I think it's excellent.
he is not the issue I have with the album.
at all.
It's actually the guitar tones, and the woeful production.
Yeah.
And there's some strong songs that have survived to this day,
Yep.
such as the Clansman
Yep.
and FUTUREAL. I think are two
Brilliant.
great Maiden
Yep.
songs. But I think there's awful marketing, some really poor decisions,
Yep.
a really shit album title, and in some, much like the football analogy, I also think this album is like a game of two halves.
Class, right there on.
The first half of this album's good.
Yeah, and the second half's away for an early bath.
Yeah. FUTUREAL, Angel and the Gambler, okay, it's an odd song, but I like
It's
it.
good, yeah.
Lightning Strikes Twice is really good, and Clansman's an absolute stonker.
Yep.
So I remember having, kind of go, it's fucking great,
Yeah.
halfway through the album, brilliant.
Yeah.
And then it just falls off a cliff for me until
Okay.
the
Yeah.
last
Yeah.
track. And it's yeah. So it's odd. Game of two halves.
Right.
Great side A, poor
Okay.
side B. That's me.
In vintage,
Up until then.
Ed Factor
Mm-hmm.
analogy, drawn back to previous episodes. I have my opinion of the album Power Slave, the bookends, right? So why does this get so much shit when Power Slave's regarded as so much better? When arguably, in my opinion, I'm going to answer my question by the way, but arguably, in my opinion, there's 4 great songs in this album. There's 4 great songs on
Okay.
Power Slave. There's 4 filler tracks in this album. There's 4 filler tracks on Power Slave, right? And I'll tell you why, Andy.
Okay.
Because its highs are nowhere near as high, and its lows are a hell of a lot lower,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's it. That's it in a nutshell. So, production was better. Martin Birch was around. There was another hand in the writing. Steve Harris's fingerprints are all over this album. 95%.
Yep.
Apart from probably one of the standout tracks, right?
Yep.
Steve Harris's papal infallibility, that's copyright Bruce Dickinson, is all over it. This is this is the sort of the zenith of it happening. So that's a massive issue. He doesn't know himself where he's going.
No.
So it's like having a ship with when the commander
Kind
can't
of
read
a-
the charts.
Kind
you know
of
what
a
I mean?
confused
Yeah.
album. A confused.
A bit of this, a bit of that. Virtual reality. We'll get that. We're going to make a video game class. No. The marketing strategy was probably about 10 years ahead of its time. Let's be honest. And Maiden are always very, very good at that. But this time it did fall short. It was a really, really awkward time in the entertainment industry as well, I think, regarding metal, regarding the direction metal was taken. This is not a metal album. This is a Iron Maiden album, right? Okay. So an Iron Maiden album has to have certain things. Twin leads. Mega epics. Okay? A degree of painting picture, and it has to make you want to go, whoa. The songs that do have that in it don't make you want to do it. So the production is crap, right? It's shit.
It's worse than the X Factor.
It is
the
worse than the
production
X
in
Factor.
this, which again,
I'm
is
not surprised that
strange.
Nico did his drums in
Yeah.
2 days.
In a couple of weeks.
I'm
or
not
whatever.
surprised that the scratch vocal was the vocal that was used. I'm not surprised that somebody didn't think to move the selector switch to the neck pickup as opposed to the bridge pickup. You know what I mean? I'm not surprised because I think, honest to God, I think this album was the most rushed job that they've ever done, and they were notorious. Like, Jesus, what album was it they wrote in Jersey in about 3 weeks?
Yeah.
One of the anyway, you know, go back. I can't remember, but it was like one of the epic era albums. You know, this skirts along the bottom of the catalogue. It will.
Yeah.
It will. There's no doubt about it. But it's not Blaze Bayley's fault. And I love these songs when Blaze plays them. I love them. He's such a passionate vocalist. It comes across in the songs where he's allowed to have the creativity and the you know, he's given the freedom to be able to do something with them.
Well,
Do another take.
I think the proof is in the pudding as well. Just you're saying, like we've both been rather unkind to, well, no, you kind of liked, but I was rather unkind to Two Worlds Collide.
Yeah.
There on this record. Yet a couple of weeks ago,
Yeah.
I saw Blaze play it with his band, and it sounded
brilliant.
1,000 times
Yeah.
better. It sounded good.
Brilliant.
And
It was brilliant.
I went onto YouTube today before coming up here and flicked through these tracks back in 1998
Yeah.
on the Virtual 11 tour.
Yeah.
And it sounds like a band that are really rocking.
Yeah.
It's just not captured on the record at all. It
Yeah.
sounds dead. And to take a band that has such spark and is all about playing live
Vibrancy. Yeah.
and that vibrancy,
Yeah.
to take that band and make it sound dead,
It's suffocating it.
it's quite. How do you do that?
Yeah.
It's quite an achievement.
Yeah, it's
In-
quite an
in a
achievement,
way.
yeah.
And yet-
it is, yeah. You're right.
It's almost like someone who knows nothing about Iron Maiden is producing them, and yet it's Mr. Iron Maiden producing
It
them.
is.
And this is the thing that I have always found.
It's Mr. Gypsy's kiss.
I have found that. I still find
It's a
that
fucking
so
freak.
strange.
It's a freak of an album. It's a freak.
But isn't that one of the strangest things? Steve's production in these two albums,
Yeah.
and then, you know, people blame Blaze for it. It's like, well,
It's
it's
so
not him.
unfair.
You know,
it's so unfair.
It's not
and
him.
like, Jesus, Silicon Messiahs. We'll
Well,
come to
again,
it. You know,
those are discussions we'll have in the
Yeah.
future where Blaze goes on to record Silicon Messiah, and immediately, guess what? He's in a proper studio
Yeah.
with a proper producer,
Yeah.
and immediately the levels,
just way up there.
you know, some of the harmonies that are
feel-
hitting stuff. Yeah, it's just,
Well,
you know,
this had to happen. This album had to happen.
well, when you say that, you mean they were bound to
And subsequent tour.
drop another clanger? Because
Yeah,
you
and
know-
subsequent tour.
is it a
Look at the 4 bloody songs that didn't put on it. Nomad, Dream of Mirrors, The Mercenary, and Blood Brothers. Like, if those were written and obviously
So why didn't
parts worked out, why did not put them on?
Why didn't it put them
We've
on?
heard Blaze singing Blood Brothers. He's brilliant at singing it. Mm-hmm. Brilliant. When I'm looking at these here, he could sing all those songs.
So why
Why were they not on?
was the
I'm not. There's no conspiracy theory here. I'm not saying hey, they were keeping them for or whatever.
for Bruce?
Aye, no, but I don't understand why they weren't on, because they are. If you put those 4 on that album, take the 4 Guff ones off, take fucking Angel and the Gambler off, stick Virus in the album.
Yeah,
It's a
again,
brilliant album.
strange decisions, but
You're
yeah.
looking at an album where Two Worlds Collide would be the absolute stinker if that would be the case. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, I mean,
Nomad's a brilliant song. That
It's
I don't want
strange.
to talk. I don't want to get it. Dream of Mirrors is amazing.
So why didn't
You know what I mean?
it's odd that those songs that are clearly better written songs than
And
Don't Look to the Eyes of the Stranger, etc. You
Don't
know,
look to-
you know, it's like
I
why? But
I don't know.
Don't know.
It's not being able to see the wood for the trees. I think, honest to God.
could be.
Could be, yeah.
I don't know, but the other things suppose I find strange is that Steve had already produced the X Factor, so in theory he's done one album, so the production should be a bit better
Yeah.
on the second album.
He'll have all the faders remembered on the days. Yeah, I know what you mean.
But it's actually
not,
worse.
It's worse.
You know,
It's woolly.
the X Factor.
It's the synths are
it's the
shockingly bad.
Yeah, yeah, and I think he plays
I
some
think
of
there's
it
a
rather
keyboard
than
lying around here somewhere. You could play a better synth.
better on it. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Steve plays a fair bit of the keyboards
does,
on this rather than Michael Kenny.
He does it live, Michael Kenny. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Like Steve does all. I think he does them all now. To be honest, with you. I think so.
So that is something I find odd, that the production's got worse. I mean, you know, the production on some of the X Factor worked, you know, but yeah, it's definitely, you know, no, it's definitely no. It's like, how's it got worse,
Okay.
guys? You
So-
know, so
You're 18, right?
Mhm.
This has come out. How are you feeling?
So I feel today listening to some of it in a way where I like some of, you know, I like the first 4 songs. I think are good,
Yeah.
but they're not 9 out of 10s or 8 out of 10s. They're you know, because of the production, that power isn't there, and I much preferred Accident of Birth.
Yeah.
Bruce Dickinson
That's
album. You know, if you stick
There was
on,
another Maiden. That was the thing. There was
Yeah.
another Maiden out there.
you know, from whenever I put that CD on, back in the age you went and bought CDs, you know, and hit play and Freak came
Yeah.
on, the power
Yeah.
of that just, it was like, wow.
Yeah.
And partly that is, all right, Bruce, I mean, he's just something else,
Yeah.
you know, but it's also the power of the band.
Hey, Royce, he was never a Maiden.
And the production
Yeah,
and
exactly.
the you know, the power.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
That's the thing, you see. I think what's happened here is they've been superseded.
it just sounds
Like, Accident of Birth was before it. If I was Steve Harris, I'd have fucking shit myself if I heard that. Well, you know,
well, who says he didn't?
what would
We
he do?
don't-
What would he do about it?
We don't know. Well, it
You know what I mean?
stuck his head in the sand.
Yeah.
I don't know. What I think the biggest question the question that I have the most unanswered about this era is, again, it's not about the singer so much. It's about what Iron Maiden was Steve hearing in his head, because, you know, when Blaze Bayley's picked and you hear Blaze Bayley singing Rothschild,
Yeah.
it's brilliant. And that was one of the songs he auditioned,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and yet then they go on to hardly play any Diano era tracks, which just
Yeah.
seems weird. You know, was he trying to go for a more raw sound? Well, no,
Not making him sing.
but-
Heaven Can We?
no.
You know what
I mean, like, what's the thinking behind this
Yeah.
weird production? You know, is it to sound like retro old Genesis albums or
Yeah.
something? Is that what he was going for? Because
know.
and that's actually most what it sounds like.
Yeah.
The production sounds like kind of
Aye.
early 1970s
Aye.
prog rock
Yeah.
bands,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
like Yes and
Yeah.
Genesis early stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, Procol Harum,
Procol Harum. Yeah.
Harum,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, you know,
Yeah.
it is the only kind of things I can think
really
of
weird.
that I can
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
compare the production to, and try and say, well, that's obviously what he was going for, but to try and apply that to Iron Maiden in
Yeah.
the late 1990s, when
There was
it
digital
just seems
recording.
just seems weird. It seems like a weird thing to do.
It's funny.
Was that what he was trying to do?
but
I don't
Andy,
know.
It's a weird time of metal. Look back at it, right? So you had your big four or whatever, right? Now you'll be better versed in this than me, and you'll tell me what Megadeth album was out. Was it Cryptic Writings?
So, what year are we
Not that
now?
I want to talk much about Megadeth,
No,
but
so we're in 1998. So Cryptic Writings came out
Yeah.
in 1997.
so it's a good album, right?
so
it's a good album.
It's a good album, but it's a melodic rock album.
Yeah, but it's
It's less
more
metal.
more Megadeth than this is Maiden, if you know what I mean. Yeah,
It's not thrashy at all.
but it's good.
There's good songs
Yeah,
on
yeah.
it. You know,
What's it called? Load, reload.
Load and Reload. So those two bands are going through they're not playing thrash anymore.
No, so the
you know?
whole
So yes.
what were Pantera doing? trying to think who would we listen
Well,
to.
Pantera were the outliers. So
What's the Trendkill?
Trendkill was 96.
Yeah, okay.
You know, so but they're like a band who just got heavier.
Yeah.
You know, 98. You're
Faith No More. I was just actually listening to album of the year there this week.
mm-hmm.
Not in any way like this, but you know, again, still some great rock and stuff on it.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, it's like a soup. It's all people are trying something different. This isn't trying something different.
I'm gonna look up metal albums of 1998.
My God,
Just to see.
live searching. I just think that it was such like I only know because I vividly remember I was a teenager, a man at that stage. You know, there were so many different influences out there. You know, harder music was.
This was released in March 98, wasn't it?
No, March 98. Yeah, it was the 28th of March or something. So,
I mean, yeah, it is a weird time for metal. You're right.
Weird,
There's like
it is
Slayer
weird.
do Diabolus in Musica,
Music.
which they're kind of criticized for using some hip hop stuff. You know, yeah.
there's nothing really out there.
Trying to think of really
Somebody is
Monster
screaming.
Magnet do Power Trip.
Somebody is screaming at the screen right now, going,
Ma-
"Woo!"
yeah, Metallica released Garage Inc., which is covers album that year.
Oh, really?
You know,
Was one the year before.
Sepultura have fallen out with Max Cavalera,
Yeah.
so they've got a new singer against Max Cavalera releases Soulfly.
Soulfly.
Yeah, so you know, Van Halen 3,
I would Gary Sharon.
yeah. You know,
There's you
Black
see.
Sabbath reunion, that's a live thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, so I get it. It is, you know, Alice in Chains have broke up. Jerry Cantrell does Boggy Depot, which is a solo album. Queens of Stone Age released Queens of the Stone Age.
Yep.
First album.
It's like your big hitters. They're either never going to make up again, but obviously will whenever the nostalgia kicks in. This is whenever nostalgia begins to kick in. Because
Yeah,
what's happening out there isn't doing it anymore for anyone. So what you want
Yeah.
is you go back, you hark after the past, you pick up Appetite for Destruction, you pick up Number of the Beast again, you put it on, you go, Jesus, that was brilliant. And this is the beginning of the reunion, like Sabbath, obviously.
New metals kind of, you know,
Starting to rare to, but
corn of you know,
I'm sorry, it never really did anything for me. Never did really, so it's alright.
you know, you've got System of a Down, you've got, you know what I mean? All that kind of stuff is yeah,
You know?
Cradle of Filth, you know,
Aye.
Fear Factory, Obsolete, quite a big album, you know. So there is still, look, there's still some really heavy stuff out there, and it's,
But not this.
but not this. This doesn't come across as heavy. The production makes it sound jaded and tired.
Yeah. I just think
You know?
yeah. So we could talk about this now for the next half an hour, but you know what we're doing is we're blissfully ignorant of the fact that the times are going to change. The tide is, the change is going to come.
Yeah,
So and for everyone involved, and for Blaze included, okay, he's not a billionaire or whatever, but he's still out there. He's still doing these songs, the justice that they deserve. And,
yeah. I mean, there is good.
and you hear them, and you're like 60, and you're going, he's standing in front of 200 or 300 people in Belfast, and they are having the night of their lives.
Well, that is the thing. I get, there's some good stuff on this album. There's some good music on this album. There's no question about that.
Yeah. Totally.
But I just think that with more guidance, with better production, it just could have been so much more.
Yeah.
I don't feel that the lineup ever reached its potential.
No.
I think that's
Quite right.
on
Quite
record.
Right. Quite right. There was there needed to be, maybe perhaps Blaze wasn't as strong enough a personality to stamp more of an opinion, and it would have come.
how could he have went into that band being younger,
Aye.
not having sold
Yeah.
tens of millions of albums,
Not having written Holiday the name. Yeah.
How could he have gone in and went,
Absolutely.
Well, hold on, actually, Steve, you're wrong about this.
Yeah,
Why don't
absolutely. That's what I'm saying.
we do you know
He never get the chance to build up that confidence.
that confidence to maybe speak his mind
Yeah.
or to say, you know, and I think that's what I meant earlier
Yeah.
by he probably had complete and utter faith in, I'm following Steve here.
Yeah.
I'm in good hands.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And Rod.
And Rod.
The whole management, still rock solid, still great.
Yeah,
But
but I
can't put their hands up and admit that they made a mistake. Don't know if Steve can do that just so much.
I think
you know,
Steve stands by these albums, doesn't
Yeah.
he?
and you know, there's a certain amount. There has to be a certain element of pride, not, you know, pained pride. You know,
You have, I suppose you have
Jesus.
to stick by your work, but at the same and set time, if well, look, it's what the guy believes.
Yeah.
If he obviously stands by these albums because he believes in
wrote
them.
99% of them. You know.
Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, now there are bands who have written albums, but and artists who will say that wasn't my finest moment. I was trying something different, and it didn't work or whatever.
He's never said that.
But he's never said that. You know,
I would not that.
he'll say, look,
I don't know.
I know
It's
loads
like
of people that
Horace
really enjoy
bashing,
those
but
albums.
you would,
No.
you know, it's not Horace bashing. But turn around and go, all right, it wasn't that good. Some great tracks,
Or some of it,
some of it could have been better. But anyway, right, enough.
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 Yes,
We are going to give it our scores now.
yes.
So I'm going to ask you to go first, Andy.
Oh, are you?
Yep.
Okay. You're gonna ask me to go first.
Yep.
Okay, so I am going to give this album a 5.5. So I am. And I'm giving it a 5.5 because I think the first half of the album is good.
Mm-hmm. It's got
And
the
come on,
Klansman on it.
And it's got the Klansman on it, and it's got FUTUREAL on it, and come on, Estais Amigos on it.
Yep.
And it's enough for me to revisit. There's enough good material on for me to go and have a listen to it.
Yeah.
You know, unlike Fear of the Dark, which I think I give a 3 to, which
Garbage.
I just don't listen to at all.
Yeah, exactly.
I never listened to that album.
On Monday.
I just Fear of the Dark is the worst album they've made,
Absolutely.
in my opinion.
100%.
So, yeah, this is a better album than that.
No, it is. It is.
So, despite everything we've said about
Yeah.
it, this is a better
Well,
album.
I don't
than
think.
that.
I think if you look at it the whole way through, and we will rewatch this ourselves, we're not overly down on it. I don't think, but I would give it exactly the same score. That's the
Would
score
you?
I mean,
Really?
5.5. Yeah,
Right,
Because of that, because FUTUREAL is a great song, and it stood the test of time in the Ed Hunter tour, and might come out again at some stage. Who knows? Blaze still plays it to this day. Angel and the Gambler, even though it's a curio piece, it's a museum piece, it's weird, it's an oddity, I'll still love it. Two Worlds Collide, like it. Klansman is an absolute bona fide classic. Como Estas Amigos is a great song.
Yep.
There's only one Lightning Strikes Twice. Yeah, there's only one bad song on it. There's only song on it that I think is crap.
Yeah.
Really crap.
Okay.
So,
okay.
and you're right. Fear of the Dark is dross.
Well, I think there's 3 pretty crap songs on it, but I do think one of them.
And why you put Dream of Mirrors on?
One of them would be better with better production.
Yeah.
I think overall, the album does lack. It does lack that big. Pardon me, a big kind of focal point. Maybe it's because Klansman's, the 4th song in the album or something. It doesn't feel like it's.
Yeah.
It's an epic, but it doesn't close the album, and for some reason, the other songs that are long just don't come across as epics to me. Because they're just shit.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
It lacks that, I think, but I don't think I could give it any lower than 5.5.
No.
I
think it deserves it.
No, it's so it's it a classic Maiden album? No. But I think Blaze does a good job on it, and
Blaze does a fantastic job.
I think
on it.
Nico sounds great on the album.
I think the drums are a bit not the finest are.
I think
way
the
through.
performances are great.
Right, okay.
Personally,
Yeah.
I think from a drum, he's just sat there, knocked it out, like
Walked away.
yeah, and walked away. But
What a
such
legend. Yeah,
such is the brilliance of,
Yeah.
of him as a drummer.
Yeah.
Now, whether the drums are recorded particularly well
Yeah,
or not
that's
is
what I mean.
a different
Yeah.
ball game.
Yeah.
Sorry, I meant from performance
Yeah.
point of view. But the guitar playing, I just think, is a bit uninspired, and that's definitely because of the tones.
Apart from Como Estais Amigos, which sounds great.
To me, that comes across worse than the drum sound.
Yeah. Okay.
It's I think they get away with to an extent. If you have chuggy, powerful guitars and stuff, and a nice low end rumbly bass on there, it'd be all right. You know, I just don't know what they were thinking with the guitar tones.
I'm just
It
thinking
just sounds so
there's at
cheap. And that
least
keyboard.
there's 3 of those songs, No Mad Dream of Mirrors, Mercenary Prayer Brothers, that would have really been done down with the guitar solo. You know, no mad. Yeah, absolutely.
You know.
The way the Mercenary starts.
Yeah.
Anyway, right.
know,
anyway,
so-
that I don't want to talk about that just yet.
No. So that's
That's it, folks.
that's that. And I think just in conclusion of the conclusion, you're
Conclusion of the
right
conclusion.
that now we did have Bruce Dickinson doing metal again.
Yeah, Bruce Dickinson
with
doing
Adrian,
Maiden better than Maiden.
and he's out Maiden in them
He's
at
out
this
Maiden in
point.
them, yeah.
You know, when the X Factor came out, that wasn't the case. And
Yeah.
then you've had Accident of Birth coming out, and it's just a brilliant album.
Yeah, you'd shoot all the clowns.
And then it's like all eyes are on Maiden, and,
Yeah.
and this is what they deliver, and I think it raised a lot of big question marks.
Yeah.
And just the, you know, where do they go from here now? Really, you know, the tour's cut short as well. You know, it really is a case of like,
The writing's
surely-
on the wall.
surely they can't keep continuing in this studio,
Yeah.
which is really the problem.
Yeah.
You know, it's the common denominator from the last 4 albums.
Yeah,
You know,
the
with-
barnyard.
but the Barnyard, and the production has not been good on No Prayer,
Yep.
Fear the Dark, X Factor, or this. They would have all been better albums if they were recorded elsewhere.
Yep.
And maybe there's why is that? Maybe this is to do with Steve's own mental health and having to spend more time at home
Yeah.
rather than, you know, you're out
Going on
touring.
a compass point.
And
Yeah.
and maybe he just
Recording somewhere
needed
nice.
that time at home for his own
Yeah.
mental well-being.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what it is. He needed those years to kind of
Mm-hmm.
take a bit of time out or something. You know, it's easy to criticize
It is.
as an
Andy.
armchair fan when
It
you
is.
haven't lived what they've been through. So perhaps that is it. But
So, turning the corner,
Mm-hmm.
our next episode is going to be
what comes out in July
not
of
too
1998?
far behind. Yeah,
Not too far behind, but that will be
a little song, a little album from our friend Bruce.
yes. We will be reviewing the absolute monster of an album, which is Bruce Dickinson's Chemical Wedding. If you're not familiar with that album, do check it out.
Yeah.
It is an absolute beast of an album. I can't wait to discuss it. I'm not going to hide my feelings about the album. It is utterly tremendous.
He hasn't been hiding them since 1998.
Yeah,
folks.
it's,
So
it's just
anyway.
on a it's amazing. So and
There are 12 commandments. Anyway,
yeah.
right. On that note,
So on that bombshell, yes, we shall bid you
on that bum note, right? Okay, no problem.
bid you farewell.
Bid you farewell. Like, subscribe, share, comment. Let us know what you think. Give this a spin and let us know where we right, where we wrong, and we will see you next time around. So, everybody,
Yep.
take care.
Absolutely. Take it easy, guys. Speak
Woo!
soon. Bye.